Hey everybody, and welcome to the Open Division. I'm Green Havoc, and I've got a pretty handsome desk here to break down the game today, and we've got a fun one. Some pretty high-rated teams. We got a 4,300 team in E.G. Brown, and about a 3,800 team in Rift. So I've got Frito and I've got Thibbledork here to break down these teams, and we are on the live patch, which means, some teams may be trying out some new strategies. Let's find out what Frito thinks about E.G. Brown.
Hey there, everybody. So, Green, bro, I think I need to send you some of this tea because that throat is on the struggle game, dude. So, sorry, we'll get through it together, man. So, E.G. Brown, we're likely going to see a lot of goats today. Let's just be completely honest. The live patch hasn't changed the meta too much. First week into the Open Division, haven't seen too much of this patch competitively yet across the board, but still widely believed that the 3-3 composition is the most powerful potentially. But I would say, and I think a lot of other analysts seem to agree, that it's a composition that requires a ton of teamwork. So teams that are able to execute that can really see a lot of good success moving forward through this level of play and potentially even pushing themselves up towards a higher tier of play. But for E.G. Brown specifically, I think a player that we should definitely keep our eyes on, especially if it ever gets to any hit scan favored map, is Alex, who is a player that our caster Paulsable's telling me about, that he's seen play in some tier 3 competitions as well that he's casted, and has described his play as pretty incredible at times. And if you click some heads, it almost doesn't matter what team composition the enemy is running. So if we are going to see anything other than 3-3, I would expect to see Alex either pick up Widow or even perhaps Ashe, who has been filling in a few compositions. Specifically, I would say bunker comp with the mercy damage boost, but other than that, probably straight 3-3 across the board, especially given our map pool. First one going to be Nepal or Busan. Very tank-heavy favored map.
That's very true. And, Kefri's been tearing up on the Widow as far as contenders Korea goes. So perhaps we see maybe some, some mimicking. But we do have to talk about the other team, and that is Rift. And we've got Thibble to break down this team for us. So Thibble, what do we need to look for when it comes to this group of players?
So Rift holds a special place in my heart already, even if I haven't ever seen them play, specifically because they have a player named Sasuke, which is just awesome. He's main tank. His top 3 are Reinhardt, Winston, and Zarya. But if I had to mirror Frito's player to watch, I would probably say Celestial, who seems to be their hit scan main of choice right now. His top 3 being McCree, Ashe, and Genji. I'm very interested to see if Ashe factors into the games today at all. Like you said, we're in a slightly different elo than contenders or the Overwatch League. We're not necessarily going to see 100% goats. We're going to see some interesting, some mix-ups, some niche picks, some comfort picks. And both of these teams have some very comfortable hit scan players. So last season I said, these guys are never going to play hit scan. And then the moment I said that, people started pulling out Widowmakers and getting 4Ks all the time. If we see that here, I don't think I'm going to complain. So keep an eye on the hit scan players for both of these teams, Rift especially.
Yeah, it's always fun, especially when the Open Division first starts. You're really going to see how the strats trickle down from both the Overwatch League, but we haven't seen that. It hasn't been live for a while, so it's mostly contenders that we'll see these players kind of trying to mimic off of as far as what strategies and comps go and work for and with. But we are ready to hop into this game. So it's time to send it over to our casters, Paulsable and Katrina, and see what comps we will have. We'll be back at halftime. See you then.
Thank you very much, Green Havoc. Good to see you guys. As always, I am Paulsable. I'm here with Katrina. We're going to be the casters for your match today versus E.G. Brown and Rift. Katrina, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm ready to see these guys play. As Frito said, I have seen E.G. Brown before. I've seen a lot of these players play over at the AG Weekly. I hope they're right. I hope we get to see some hit scan, because Alex on that Widow is sick, and I can only imagine what he does on Ashe. It is a goats meta though, so who knows?
Yes, I'm definitely excited because we will be headed over to Nepal first, and this is frankly my favorite map in the entire game. Yes, we do see a lot of those very tank-heavy compositions, especially on Shrine and Village. However, there's some room for creativity. We've seen quite a few Mays. You might even get a look at that Widowmaker you just keep on talking about. I'm really excited now.
Maybe. Let's not, let's keep the hopes up. But
All right.
let's stay a little grounded here. It is the meta of not so much hit scan. We are gonna start off on Sanctum though, so this is a map we've seen some Widow on.
Yes, for sure. There are so many large sight lines on this map, but when I do see Sanctum, I'm always thinking about the environmental kills. So as we do see Alex starting to tease the Lucio on the side of EG Gaming, EG Brown, excuse me. Right now, I feel like we can definitely be able to see some of those key environmental kills, maybe get some boops off of the map. Also, Emerin deciding to switch on to the Pharah at first. There is a bit of room for this Pharah to use the verticality of this map, so I am looking forward to see if there will be also some concussion blasts into this giant pit, maybe going down to Zenyatta's treasure, who knows?
Yeah, well, if the heroes they're showing us in Spawn can be trusted, which let's all be honest, they often can't, as we see Alex go over onto that brick. I see you, Ghost, stay away. But if Rift do decide to run out on the Pharah, there is a McCree on the other. Nope, it's gone. It's Genji now. See, that's what I get for trusting Spawn heroes.
Yes, for sure. But as these two teams are starting to go forwards towards the objective, let's take a look at the compositions. We do have Genjis on both sides with Swashbuckler, especially piquing my interest on that Roadhog. Get ready for Sasuke and him combining with a Hulk hook combination.
Oh, the dive went in from zero, but he didn't have support quick enough. Now, this push from EG Brown is being dismantled a bit. Big Hundo gets demeched, and now it's full backpedaling for EG Brown. They want to get out of here as Rift move their way onto the point. Rift's gonna take our first cap here.
Yes, right now, Rift not only has the advantage of getting those early kills, but building up the percentage early. This is so beneficial for Emerin and Everent, who are on that pharmacy currently, as they have a lot more maneuverability. They can spam all of those rockets into that very small space as the dive comes in.
Yeah, right now they're just waiting over above. Oh, a big boot coming out from Everin, but 2 kills going the other way. It's actually EG Brown finding all of the picks here. There wasn't enough support in the front line. A desperation barrage not going to manage to find enough value as the front line from EG Brown holds strong, and they're going to cap this over at about 26%.
Yes, a little bit of a risky resurrection attempt coming in from Everin, but let's take a look at the ultimates available. So far, Emerin has been the only one to really use that rocket barrage, but Celestial will have that Dragon Blade coming up, and Mr. Paws is getting very close to a nano boost of his own, so look forward to that nano boost potentially being used to completely take over this point in this fight.
First, they gotta get out of the door here, and Sasuke can't manage to live more than 5 feet. Fuchsia finding Emerin up in the air, and this push from Rift is dismantled before they can even see the point.
Yes, right now, Fuchsia has been on point with all of these Discord lords, and oh, this is just a complete spawn camp coming in on the side of BG Brown. It's a bit painful to watch, not going to lie, and they have also been able to build up so many ultimates. They have almost 5 currently. It's going to be very difficult for Rift to be able to take this back.
They're going to start out with that rally, giving them a nice bit of armor. Here comes a blade out from Flo to try and clean this up. He manages to get Mr. Praz before anything can come out from Rift. Shuts them down. EG Brown are not having any of their nonsense today.
Yes, but also Rift has 6 ultimates right now, and they have been completely overwhelmed by the spawn camping coming in from EG Brown. Now they need to be a bit more liberal with those ultimate usage and allow them to follow behind Sasuke on that Orisa, making sure that they aren't getting these early picks, a lot of which have been coming from the sniping of Fuchsia on Zen.
And it's a rather slow composition from Rift. They might wish that they had something a bit quicker as the push comes in from EG Brown yet again. No value found out of Big Hundo's self-destruct, but MQL found Sasuke regardless. Kills going back either way. Emerin finds a little bit of value out of the barrage and manages to live, which is the most impressive part. But all the meanwhile, we're up to 93% here on the point. Rift's trying to find their way in here, but they've got a touch. 97, can anybody get there? It's a desperation push from Swashbuckler. He barely manages to get there, but he gets taken down. EG Brown gonna hold out and take Sanctum.
Yes, and I would like to highlight what you were talking about earlier. It was such a slow composition. coming in from Rift. They did not have the Lucio, which was really dictating the pace coming in from E.G. Brown. So it was difficult for those very slow compositions of the Orisa, the Roadhog, to really contest the point, even as we only did see Swashbuckler being able to touch point during overtime for that last second. But as we do go into our next map, I am curious to see how Rift will adapt their strategies in order to deal with more tempo controlling compositions of E.G. Brown, and we do see Everett will be hovering over this Lucio.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we're just gonna get a GOAT special here on Shrine, as we kind of expect from this map. Looks like mirror compositions coming out, both teams opting for the Zenyatta Reinhardt GOATs variant. It's the most typical one we see nowadays. We'll see who can make good use of that Discord or better. The push comes in from Rift, maybe a bit over aggressive. Sasuke takes far too much damage. Rest of his team now does no shield to live behind. Now it's just nice, simple aggression from E.G. Brown to push them out and take first control of this here on Shrine.
And look, both of these Reinhardts are going to always have a Discord orb on them due to the Zenyatas being very on point on both sides. Fuchsia especially being able to take out Sasuke very quickly, and every single kill you do see Fuchsia's impact. Equally important is to see where Celestial and Flo, the two Zaryas, will be using their bubbles on, not only to gain immense charge and graviton buildup, but to also negate the effect of that Discord orb.
Yeah, look at these ultimates, right? Already a rally out from E.G. Brown. The Shadow comes down, locks most of Rift straight to the floor. And with that, it's a nice, simple fight for E.G. Brown. 2 ultimates used, but a lot of percentage gained.
Yes, definitely gorgeous Earth Shatter. They're coming in from 0, but Sasuke will have one of his own for the next team fight. And even more importantly, Celestial is about to have that Graviton Surge. So will Flo. Will we see jinxing Graviton Surges? Could be possible, but right now the major advantage is that Fuchsia has been able to build that Transcendence, which should be able to counter Celestial's Graviton Surge, whereas Mr. Proz has been a bit slower with this charge.
Well, if they're not careful, those grabs might get eaten here. We'll see if that's going to be the case as the push comes in. Ooh, nice bash combo coming out, locking down the front line of E.G. Brown. Now, a lot of ults being thrown on the field, but Flo's the only person finding any kind of value. Big Hundo gets a mech with the self-destruct, shuts Sasuke down, and picks up Celestial. Be aware of the Divas, guys. Nah, you wouldn't necessarily think fragging power, but Big Hundo's gonna prove you wrong.
Yes, Big Hundo has been a star throughout this, and we do see a bit of bullying on the side of E.G. Brown as this diva is just trying to jump off the edge. Let's look at the ultimates once more. Mr. Proz now has the advantage when it comes to Transcendence, and at this point, I would anticipate we'll be using it to simply push onto the point as we are in last fight territory, 90% on the side of E.G. Brown.
Yeah, all Rift's got is that Transcendence. It's a nice bit of health, but they've got to farm some ultimates with it. They got to get aggressive. They're doing exactly that, trying to bully Zero out, but he just charges his way back on as a sound barrier comes out from NQL to keep her team nice and healthy. Sasuke no longer has that Transcendence, gonna take too much damage because of it. No value found out of Swashbuckler's self-destruct, and now it's cleanup game for E.G. Brown. They're locking this one down. They just got to keep him off the point, and they will take Nepal 2-0.
Yes, I've been very impressed with Fuchsia specifically from E.G. Brown. This Zenyatta play has been absolutely outstanding, but of course we also do have to highlight Zero on the Reinhardt, who has allowed for so much aggression to come out from the DPS players. Let's take a look at Flo's Dragon Blade right here. We do see getting those supports first. Great target prioritization. It was just a bit of an upsetting map on the side of Sanctum, I would have to say, for Rift.
Yeah, and I think that's where I might have liked to see a little bit more flexibility coming out from Rift. You know, they didn't try many different compositions over on Sanctum. They didn't try any different variations of GOATs on Shrine. Maybe a bit quicker decision making on those compositions could have been a beneficiary for them. We'll see if they can pick it up as we head into our next map. It is their pick. Where do you think they're gonna go, Gina?
That's quite difficult to say, as they do know that both of these teams have very strong snipers. We will be headed to, I believe, an escort map next. It'll either be Dorado or it will be Route 66. So depending on whether or not teams are more comfortable with that triple tank, triple support GOATs composition that we did see in the more recent map of Nepal, I would lean a little bit closer towards Route 66.
Yeah, possibly. Although if you're Rift, you know, you just kind of got smashed on that
Yes.
on that GOATS composition. So maybe you want to switch it up, you know, put some faith in those hit scans. Let me dream, Katrina. Let me dream.
Well, what's so scary though is with the hit scans, you do have it on the other side too with Alex on Dorado. There's so many amazing sight lines for that Widowmaker. So let's see if Rift has done their homework on this team, and I'm very curious to see how confident they feel in this sniper v sniper battle that we might see.
Nah, just one trick brig. That's all you gotta do nowadays, right? Right. That's I see in the chat. I see in the chat somebody on Alex's team even saying he's just a one trick brig now. Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry that the meta's done this to you. I like to think that GOATS is, you know, nuanced and fun, but it's moments like these where heart sinks a little. Heart sinks. But you know, these teams making pretty good work of those GOATS compositions. I did like the very nice ultimate discipline we saw coming out from EG Brown. It is very important in any meta, but this one specifically.
Oh, I completely agree. Not only do you have to manage your understanding of what tools your enemy has in terms of ultimates, but also key cooldowns such as Brigitte's shield bash. If you do end up having that one trick Brigitte on your team, you need to make sure that you are enabling this hero to be able to create amazing ultimate combinations like we did see with an Earthshatter in this previous round. So Paul, what heroes do you enjoy to play in Overwatch?
I'm actually a main tank myself.
Oh, okay,
so mostly Reinhardt. Mostly I just walk forward and get stunned for 8 years, you know.
So you've been loving
that's
it.
fun. Yeah, you know, it's great. Although every now and again I'll be able to get a duo Q, and my buddy plays Brig, so you know, get those nice combos going. It's easy to get that combo going when you're in plat.
So when we are looking, oh sorry.
No, I was just gonna say because nobody understands Zarya bubbles in plat, but that's more of me. Well, I can rant about ranked all day. Thankfully, these teams are a little bit better than that.
Yes, well, the Zarya bubbles are going to be so important as both of these teams, as I was saying before, favor the Zen compositions, but Flo was such a standout on Nepal with his Zarya play. Not only his Genji, he had an average charge of over 70%. I don't think he even died once on that last map of Nepal, so these Zaryas might be the key impact, not only for their Graviton surges, but for their ability to negate all of those negative effects that will be coming in from those Zenyatas on the opposing team. Now, my Zarya, probably not at that level just yet, but we will be headed over to Dorado, so I'm excited to learn a thing or two from these teams.
Yeah, maybe. And you know, fun fact, for those of you who may not be aware, Zarya Bubble does more than block that amount of damage, right? It can cleanse a Discord Orb, it can cleanse a Bionade, so you know, it is a very versatile ability on that defensive cooldown, both personal and projected. One of the many nuances I like to focus on in GOATS instead of just 6 players press Q.
Yes, and I'm excited to see if we will be able to see that anti-nade coming in from Ana's. We did see the Zenyatas being showcased in this last round, but Ana has so much utility as a healer with the Sleep Dart, with the anti-nade. It can be very difficult in that GOATS composition with all of the shielding to land a major anti-nade, but when one does, that is almost just absolute team fight win. Ana can be a great choice as well on the defensive side of Dorado, but we might even see a Mercy alongside the snipers that have been favored on the side of EG Brown when they defend.
And you know, I've seen EG Brown play a few times, and I've seen Fuchsia on that Ana in this GOATS composition. It is a sight to behold. That was back when Ana GOATS was thought to be supreme, so I don't know if they're going to be bringing that out today, especially when Fuchsia's been fragging out as hard as he has on that Zen. But it's certainly a possibility, especially since, like you said, Dorado, very nice, long sight lines for that Ana to take advantage of.
What I love about Dorado is I feel like every single checkpoint allows you to completely shift your composition, especially as you go into the third checkpoint. You'll see a lot more of the heavier tank, the Reinhardt, the Zarya, alongside the Diva. You'll see that type of GOATS composition. However, in the first 2 points, because of the verticality, because of the sniper benefits, we might get a Winston being played. And my favorite variation of GOATS is when you have that Winston, the Diva, and the Zarya, allowing you to protect your Winston as he dives in, give him a little bit of extra armor with your Brigitte. It's just beautiful when it works out. So I really am hoping that we will be spoiled with this gameplay as we do head over to the second checkpoint especially.
Oh yeah, one thing about the Winston comp though, you gotta be careful how you run it, right? It's not as brawly as the Reinhardt one, so you gotta dance, you gotta kite around a little bit, right? You gotta be careful. You have lower damage and lower effective health pool, especially with that shield only having 900 health. But, you know, if you play it right, certainly something to utilize on that second point, like you said. We even see teams using it on that first point more often than not nowadays. But we'll see what these teams roll in on as we head down to Dorado.
Now, what I love about Dorado as a caster and hate as a player is I feel like there's so many different places for me to get flanked as a main tank player myself. so there's so many different traps, so many areas that the DPS players can exploit. So I would not be shocked if we even see a few more players like Celestial on that Genji. We did see some very good gameplay on the Genji coming in from Flow, also on Nepal. So this could be a game for some more creative compositions, let's just say. But as the defense will start to be assembled on the side of, I believe, EG.
Yes, EG Brown will be defending first.
They've been teasing a little bit of, once again, that triple tank, triple support, but Q-Tip. Will Q-Tip be sticking onto this Genji? No, he will not. Let's take a second and take a break. Let them try to compose themselves before we get into some in-depth analysis here.
Interesting. You know, they have rolled out of spawn, actually. We are going to see a double sniper of sorts. We're getting that new hero in the mix, boys. It's Ash down on the field, the leader of the Deadlock gang. This is our first real competitive outing with Ash in the Overwatch path to pro. What, are you excited for this?
I am excited. I'm a little bit concerned that we aren't seeing the Hanzo. I really do appreciate Hanzo's Sonic Arrow and Storm Arrow as abilities. Flow on the Ash, though, I am looking forward to see if that Dynamite will be used. But look at the anti-nade, this first anti-nade being placed onto Rift right away. This is going to be a very good round for this Ana.
And this is what I was talking about with Fuchsia. He's so good at landing those bios. We'll see if he can do it to keep his team alive. Zero's caught out a little bit, manages to get away for the moment, find that healing. There's that bio onto him from Fuchsia. Ooh, Emerin finds the opening pick onto Flow. Remember, no mercy. Oh, actually, there is a mercy. I'm blind. So the res does come through. Alex firing back both teams, finding some picks here, but the positional advantage is going over entirely to Rift right now. They're already underneath that archway. This is where the push gets a little bit difficult, but there's a nice big Reinhardt shield to keep them alive. Push is gonna come through. Alex has got to be careful. Goes up onto that high ground as the dive comes in into the front line from Zero. Ooh. Yet again, picks going both ways, but already a Dragon Blade out from Celestial. He finds Alex. He's looking for a second, manages to get Fuchsia. That'll be the end of this push as Rift's going to wrap up point A nice and quick.
Extremely quick push coming in from Rift, beginning with the early pick from Emerin onto Flow, allowing Q-Tip to use that resurrection extremely early. Losing that resource was a major blow to EG Brown, and as we do see Celestial starting to push up and bully the defense, I'm curious as to why we haven't seen any changes to the composition yet. However, Fuchsia has managed to charge a nano boost, and I wouldn't be surprised if this goes over to Zero on the Winston. Going to be able to dive into the back line and tickle a bit.
Yep, there it is. Nano coming down immediately. He's going for those supports, but they do manage to get a bit of zoning. Emerin looking a little, or Everett rather, looking pretty low, going to be taken out by a Primal. Zero looking for more. He finds the other support. Meanwhile, front line of Rift is left out to dry. Celestial is trying to find value, but couldn't manage to do it all alone. One fadeaway kill onto Q-Tip is not going to net Rift much of anything.
No, it will not. However, losing that Mercy so early is a major disadvantage, as the spawn is at the advantage of Team Rift, who does have plenty of ultimates to work with. They are almost at 6, as Swashbuckler has been able to charge the Graviton quite quickly. Sasuke will also have an Earth Shatter coming up. A great combination could be in store for us, with Emerin having that Dragon Strike.
See what ults Rift opt to pull out. They are very nearly at 6. Ooh, Bob is on the field into the backline of Rift, but meanwhile, Celestial's already found 2. Does get shut down. Kills going both ways. Still anybody's fight. Sasuke's thrown down the Shatter to no avail. It was blocked by the Winston bubble. EG Brown going to play it safe, back up for a moment while they wait for their respawns.
Yes, that's a bit of a victory for EG Brown, even though, yes, of course, they have not been able to stop the payload. They've used so many ultimates on the side of Rift. So many ultimates were, to be frank, almost wasted. But here comes the Nano Boost and Transcendence in combat.
Interesting Transcendence coming out from Mr. Proz, only going to really help Sasuke, and he had a bio onto him, so he's going to be taken down regardless. Now, no tank line really for Rift, as there he is. There's that Alex Widowmaker I was talking about. He's taking him out.
It's so powerful to have a DPS player that you can rely on to get those major picks in your time of need. Right now, as the payload is going to start going in reverse, there aren't many ultimates on the side of either team. We do see the Q-Tip has that Valkyrie available with Flo. Oh, getting that early pick onto Everett.
Yeah, and when you have that double sniper, when you have that Ashe out on the field, suddenly the Infrasight is an Infrasight for even more than just the Widow. Flo managed to make good use of that, shut this push down as our Rift forced back to their spawn.
Yes, there's been so much spawn camping coming from EG Brown, and right now, we still have not seen many changes in terms of composition to Rift. They are confident and comfortable with their current hero picks, and Emerin and Squashbuckler could have an amazing Graviton Surge Dragon Strike combination. However, the side of EG Brown does probably know that these ultimates are being charged and are split up so effectively.
Oh, look at Zero over on the side. He's just trying to smack him off the edge. He manages to get Swashbuckler. With an aggressive Primal Rage out from the main tank of EG Brown, but he's making use out of it. Meanwhile, there's not much peel for his backline though, so Fuchsia goes down. It is going to be 2 up for EG Brown, so they, especially as the res comes out. But Rift not giving up. They decide to invest the Dragon, force EG Brown off the high ground, and actually manages to take out Big Hundo. Now Bob down on the field into the lines of Rift to try and shut their backline down. Manages to harass them a bit to get them out of there. And meanwhile, the snipers of EG Brown gonna clean up.
Yes, the snipers of EG Brown have just been so comfortable, but Celestial is pushing the payload forward. This might be a backup, but no, he is spotted out by Big Hundo.
Maybe if it was a little closer to the end there, that would have worked out. Had a bit of a ways to go, unfortunately.
I got pretty excited there coming in, but no, I feel like these snipers have not been challenged until now.
And there's that grab actually underneath the balcony there, locks him down. Celestial takes full advantage of that with the blade out. Does get shut down after taking out 2, so it's not over yet for either team. 5v5 as the res comes out. Both monkeys got a nano on them. A self-destruct overhead, going to force Rift into a suboptimal position. Alex gonna take him down as they come back out. Now EG Brown locking this one down, finding the picks with the Widowmaker. Going to shut this down. Only 40 seconds remaining for Rift to try and get in here.
Yes, and we do see Celestial switching over to the Wrecking Ball, the Hammond, and taking a nap quite quickly as Fuchsia has been on point with those sleep darts. Finally, some switches are coming in. Celestial does decide to go over to the Hanzo with Emerin taking over on the Widowmaker. Double Sniper coming out. Is it a bit too late for Rift to be able to challenge this as there is only 15 seconds remaining?
Yeah, they gotta get on cart 2. Sasuke making his way over there, but the rest of his team is so far from him. Swashbuckler took a lot of damage there. They gotta try and get in, but Emerin already down. Alex finds that first pick on the Widow, and now it's going to be decimation as he just has a free sight line, but Celestial shutting him down. It's not over quite yet. The cart is dangerously close to the end there. Big Hundo gonna try and shut it down with a self-destruct, finding 2, gets 1 with the remake. Big Hundo coming up clutch, shuts it down, and that'll be the end of Rift's push.
And 3 cheers for Bob there, getting some final kills onto Celestial and Emerin. I think Bob is my new favorite hero in this entire game possible. But right now, this is a major advantage coming in for EG Brown as the second checkpoint was not even reached by the side of Rift. There were some very strong moments, however, I feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place up against Alex's Widowmaker, as a lot of the diving coming in from Squashbuckler was not as effective because they were just being countered so quickly by the ground crew, the front line of Zero. So right now, it can be difficult for Rift to find a way to deal with these snipers more effectively as their diving tanks are getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, and EG Brown did a very good job of keeping their backlines nice and split, so they couldn't all be dived on at once. So if one part of the backline was being dove, supports get doved, oh, well, the Widowmaker will kill him. Oh, Widow gets doved, the supports will heal him up, while meanwhile our front line is going and killing their backline, right? Beautiful bit of decision-making coming out from EG Brown. Very good strategic planning for this map.
And as we do see Rift's defense, I am excited to see Emerin on a Mei. One way to deal with the Widowmaker is to completely block her view with an Ice Wall or freeze her. So Either way, I'm excited. But we also do see Celestial on that Genji once again. So interesting DPS composition on the side of Rift. We do have a bit more of a traditional heavy tank setup with Sasuke and Squashbuckler on that Zarya and Reinhardt. So it's interesting to see this composition in that you do have Celestial as one of the solo dive heroes in this entire composition. So he might have to be fending for himself quite a bit.
Does have the Ana, so can get a nano for that Dragon Blade once that combination comes up. But like you said, he might struggle to find any kind of value before that. EG Brown rolling out, very similar setup to their defense, but rather than the Ashe, they are opting for that Genji, diving in, finding value. Oh, what a beautiful nade coming out from Fuchsia. That might have been a pre-placed one. He got it over the Reinhardt shield, way up in the air, and it's going to force Rift back.
And right now, as they are approaching this checkpoint, this is a major spot for Rift to be able to hold this payload for a while, but they are simply being pushed back by the immense DPS power. Emerin is being caught out and has a nano blade, uses the wall to save himself.
Yeah, nice bit of controlled aggression coming out from EG Brown. They got to try and get in here and make those kills happen. The front line goes in, manages to find 1, 2 going down now, but now EG Brown with the advantage. They took out the Ana, and they knew that was the bell to just roll over the rest of Rift. They're going to keep this payload moving.
So when we do look at Rift's ultimate charge, so far Emerin is the closest to the Blizzard, but will be deciding to switch over to a Widowmaker of his own, noticing that Alex has been so impactful on that own sniper. I'm curious to see if there will be any more switches as Swashbuckler, yes indeed, will be switching over to the D.Va, most likely to get to the payload as quick as possible.
Celestial got caught out. He was waiting over on the side, maybe waiting for a touch for his team to come back in, but not going to work out for him now. Ooh, Zero getting very aggressive here, going into the backline, investing the Primal Rage just to disrupt, and actually manages to find a kill with it. This main tank is relentless from EG Brown. He's not going to stop now. He's just keeping this high ground control completely for EG Brown as the payload moving all the while. Fuchsia just sitting over there as it's a 4v5 and EG Brown giving Rift hell anyways. Incredible bit of controlled aggression, and they actually managed to find Everent and Celestial. A decisive fight. EG Brown had no right winning, but some nice main tank play gives them so much space, and now Alex gonna look to clean this one up. Rift just have to hide. Desperation self-destruct to just force EG Brown back for a moment. Does actually manage to force out Big Hundo's self-destruct, and now the blade's out from Flo. He finds 1, 2 going down now out of this Genji play, and it's not looking great for Rift here on this defense.
No, right now they have been staggered so much with the D.Va and the Lucio now falling quite behind. They will potentially have a Nano Blade to work with for this last defense, but as the payload gets closer and closer, they do need to use their resources wisely and quickly.
Yeah, everyone's got to work up to that nano. He's got it now. Ooh, but Emerin already down. Not a great way to start this fight. You got to get in there. There's the Dragon Blade nano out from Rift. Got to try and find some value. Manages to shut down 1. There is a bio on him, but a sound barrier is going to keep him nice and healthy as he looks for Fuchsia. Good healing coming out from Q-Tip to deny that kill, as meanwhile in the front line, all of EG Brown is the one finding the value. 2 down now for Rift, 3 soon to follow. It's just tanks and a Lucio, and what can they do but invest a Primal and pray? Sasuke trying to stall this one out. He's way off in the back though. He needs to get on the card. He's not going to be able to. And Dorado's going to go over to EG Brown as they go 2 up in this series.
Very impressive support play once again coming in from EG Brown, but I would like to highlight Big Hundo this time. Having been so aggressive alongside his fellow Winston during that final attack, giving more space to the payload, he effectively peeled for Q-Tip on the Mercy, allowing her to escape a very difficult situation. Celestial, though, getting that boost. Oh, excuse me, no, this was just a pure Dragon Blade coming in.
Yep.
Very good play coming in from Rift still. They have amazing standouts on their team, specifically Celestial and Swashbuckler on that D.Va and Zarya frequently. I think those two are the players to watch moving on.
Oh yeah, you can definitely tell why they had Celestial on that Genji so much. There was not a single blade that didn't find some kind of value, right? But to talk about that value and the value of everything else, we're gonna throw it back on over to Green Havoc and the boys on the desk.
Yeah, it has been a fun one so far. We've seen a ton of different comps, which is always refreshing. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into this. And Fibble, what has been your favorite composition that we've seen so far?
Zen goats. No, dude, I've loved the double sniper on Dorado. I love all the high ground contesting. I love Ash. She's very pretty. And in general, she shoots things, and they've been doing a great job. Flo especially has stuck out for me, flexing across a wide range of heroes, whether it be Genji or Ash or anything else, and generally doing pretty well. Alex, I would say, has stuck out for me especially too. The first to hop onto a sniper, and was definitely doing some work there. So I'm digging everything not goats right now. It's a lot of fun.
All right. What about you, Frito? What's the comp that stands out the most?
Well, some old meta, I guess, with the bunker comp going against Dive on Sanctum was refreshing as well, but I think a lot of our viewers are probably excited to see Ash finally get plugged into what essentially what I would say is the new age double sniper. You can really see how they can play off each other, take different angles, and with a damage amp, well, it's almost like you got two Widowmakers. Like a lot of people look to Ash and say, well, does Widowmaker do her job better? Maybe so on some maps like Ruins or something, but if you can run both, why not? So I think of that meme, right? Like, why can't we have both? You can actually pick both.
It's the classic two cakes analogy, right? Like you might think, oh man, somebody else already has a cake out here that shoots heads already, but then everybody else will say, now there's two cakes that shoot heads. That's twice as good. So yeah, it's interesting. We kind of brought up like, if you have Ash, why have Widow or vice versa? But in reality, comboing them together is not a bad idea.
And I'll tell you what looks so cool about that team composition as well is how they're able to get Mercy involved, which is a character that I think is pretty crucial to be able to get some of these high burst characters working. We saw that Mercy doing a lot of fun footwork, flying in the sky, able to dodge a lot of the attacks of Rift trying to dive at her, saved by Fuchsia. I don't know if our spectators got it much, but Fuchsia on the Ana hit like probably 100%, almost 100% accuracy on his Mercy teammate. I mean, that's the type of teammate that you really want to get in your ladder games, where Mercy effectively is getting like 1,000 HP in some of these fights as she flows in between her high ground snipers and her Winston to damage amp any of them. Damage amp works well on Winston as well, and I think Zero played really good making space for his snipers.
Okay, all right, I like that. But you know what? I want to talk about some miscues that happened throughout this game, because I like to really look at how these teams can improve. So Thibble, when we're thinking about some of the ways that these teams, you know, or things that these teams need to clean up a little bit, what comes to mind first?
I think it's just a matter of making sure everybody on Rift is on the same page in terms of what larger goal you want to work towards. There was a good portion of the time on Dorado's street phase where there was a Zarya and a Hanzo, but never once was there a Graviton Dragon Strike combo. Emerin was throwing out a lot of Dragon Strikes on his own, and they were doing okay, but imagine what you could do if you told your Zarya, hey, press Q first, and then I will press Q. That never really seemed to happen. Squashbuckler was kind of sitting on the Graviton for a few fights, and eventually got some good value out of it thanks to Celestial and a Dragon Blade there, but I feel that they missed a lot of potential to just use one of the oldest combos in the book. You know, like that never really followed through. So I think communicating that as well would be really important. Go ahead.
As well, in open division, often we see these strategies. This is like the trenches, of course, of the pro scene, where some of these strategies end up becoming either meta or not meta. And something that you'll see, I think, a lot of times in Overwatch League is that Zarya, going on to second, might even consider dropping one of the best ults in the game for fear that you won't have the space to be able to use it. And I think that ended up happening there, where the Winston play of Zero was a bit too good in order to just keep engaging on them. They didn't get a good grab, and also Zarya struggles to go up against that double sniper setup. She sort of just stands there, hopes you shoot her bubbles, and when not, well, then you're just a walking head hitbox essentially for either Ash or Widowmaker to feast upon. So both these teams are 1-0 so far, but when you start to come up against struggling with some of these strats, that's where you start to reevaluate as a team and start to make a hard decision. Do we have to drop Zarya on streets? Sometimes you do.
Yeah, exactly that, or at the very least, you need to force that ult out in the next team fight. Go for the Hail Mary value. If you don't get it, you were planning on the reset anyway, but wasting the time, not quite, you know, looking for the big grab in when there's just a better play to be made, safer play to be made. So no, I like that a lot. So we are going to be getting relatively close to going into the second half. So Frito, as far as this second half goes, if Rift wants to start to bring it back, what needs to happen?
I think you go all in on Celestial's Genji play thus far, because at the first round, it looked like Flo was really putting his foot down, saying, I'm the best Genji in the server, but we also saw Celestial really bring Rift back from the brink in a lot of these team fights. In fact, I would say probably a high percentage of their one team fights were on the back of some of his big Genji plays. So I say keep bringing him out, even if we see the 3 support dive tanks alongside him to try to support him. Maybe get some Ana in there to do some runaway 2017 pocket the Genji Nanoblade strategies as well, and ride that to victory, because it seems if the enemy especially wants to try to run Ashe on some of these high ground maps, go at them with the Genji.
Makes a lot of sense. And so I think these teams are ready to get into the next stage, the second half. So I'm going to throw it back on over to Katrina and Paulsable, who are going to get you hyped and ready for all the action that we're about to see. So it is on over to you.
Thank you very much, Green Havoc. Great analysis on the desk as always, guys. Love to see you guys talking, and you know, I think they make some pretty good points when it comes to what we're seeing as far as meta is concerned here, right? We've yet to see that double sniper come out with the Ashe Flow. It was playing it. Brain hurty. But what do you think as far as that composition is concerned, Katrina?
I think right now we might even see a little bit more of that double sniper composition as we do head over to Hanamura. Now, we have seen quite a bit of triple tank, triple support, that GOATS composition that we all know and love in Contenders. However, as both of these teams seem to be quite comfortable on these hit scan heroes, potentially even more so than their tank counterparts that they might flex over to, I think we could have a great match in terms of sniper play. But right now, as we do set up the map for Hanamura, this is my second favorite map. I've been absolutely spoiled today. We have Nepal, we have Hanamura. Absolutely gorgeous, because not only is there a wide variety of verticality, there's so much large open spaces, a lot of different flanking routes. I think this is an opportunity for even a Sombra Doomfist combination if these teams want to run one.
Man, I'd love to see that. We see that quite a bit in Contenders nowadays, because Hanamura also a map in that map pool for this season. We'll see if these teams decide to employ any of those strategies, such as the Doombra combination, if you will, or if they just decide to go Goat's forehead.
Oh gosh, yes. Right now though, let's take a look at the defense, and we might be seeing the Doomfist. However, not alongside the Sombra that you love, Paul. But Flo will be running this Wrecking Ball, which I am frankly very excited for. They might be anticipating to see that very Reinhardt heavy composition coming from the side of Rift. So as we do look at this composition, Flo is going to switch and debate me. So we will have that Doombra that you know and love and have coined for a while. But where are the tanks in this composition, Paul?
You know, it's interesting because I originally thought that Zero on Soldier was a debate, but he's doing it. We're getting triple DPS, ladies and gentlemen. Only tank is the off tank of D.Va. What an interesting setup. I'm very excited to see how they get this one rolling against also kind of an odd setup coming out from Rift. You do see the Reaper Mei, which isn't odd in and of itself, but normally we see that with a Reinhardt Zarya, whereas they're going to be having that dive tank combo. Gonna be wishing that they had a support though, as everyone goes down immediately. No chance to use that fade. Big Hundo is gonna get demaxed. Already one tick out. Alex finds a second kill, but EG Brown needs some staying power on this point. Or, you know, they can just kill everybody. That works too, I guess. Yes. And they're gonna make it work.
Yes, staying power, punching power, one and the same when you have Alex on their team. And we do see some switches finally coming in on the side of Rift with Celestial going over to the Zarya, Emran to that Brigitte. Now, I am curious to see if Everett will switch off of that Moira, given the success of Fuchsia's anti-nades, negating all of the healing on the side of Rift. Moira can be quite, to be frank, useless if one of those anti-nades lands, so keep an eye for Everett potentially switching.
You know, but the problem is that with EG Brown's composition, they have to find value quickly. Already nearly a second tick gained, as Big Hundo's the only one that can contest here. There is a decent amount of healing for him to sustain through, but the picks need to come through. EMP gonna help that out. Visor to combo with it. Zero's gonna clean them all up. Meteor Strike just for the heck of it. and Alex may go off the map to get that kill. But it is going to be a strong hold as they're not going to let that second tick go through.
No, and a team kill at that. There is 2 minutes and a half left remaining, but as we do see Rift continue to build up that ultimate charge, Everend has a coalescence. This can be absolutely brutal against the predominantly squishy, low health pool composition on the side of EG Brown, as once again, they are just charging straight for the point.
Yeah, they know what they want. They want that objective time. Alex gets the nano, tries to find some damage, but it's Flo with the first pick. A self-destruct to try and zone EG Brown into a suboptimal position. A late sound barrier is not going to save Big Hundo's mech, but Big Hundo's going to find a kill regardless in Baby Diva form. Still a brawl here on the point. Picks going both ways here. Big Hundo somehow manages to get back in mech. What a crucial bit of misplay targeting from Rift. Gonna let him clean up Mr. Prowse and possibly let EG Brown stabilize. Yet another EMP from Flo. 2 fights, 2 EMPs for this Sombra of EG Brown. And the percentage is going up. They managed to get that second tick. Rift set up on the point, but they've got to dislodge EG Brown if they want to try and get in here. A nice nano. Meteor strike from Alex finding nothing. He's going to get locked down by a grab. Now the picks are finally starting to decisively go the way of EG Brown. The way of Rift rather. And Rift's going to take point A.
I have to highlight Q-Tip there. What an absolute mosquito for Rift there. Just being able to stall so frequently. Flo also will be switching over to the Pharah as opposed to the Sombra that he was being extremely effective on before. This will be able to make Emeren's life as a Brigitte a lot more difficult as he is out of reach. But Celestial providing the hit scan on the Hanzo might make Flo want to switch back.
Ooh, well, he's gonna make Alex wish he wasn't standing where he was. Celestial going behind fighting 3! He just flanked them entirely and took out half the team, enables his team of Rift to push onto the point completely unopposed. Decimation from Celestial on this Hanzo. Now a desperation visor coming out from Zero, trying to shut them down. He manages to get one, but it's just not enough value. The stall game for EG Brown is strong, but is it strong enough to weather the test of all of these ults coming out from Rift? My gut says no here, but Rift's got to clean this up a little bit faster if they want to get this cap through. The respawn advantage is in favor of EG Brown, but they're not finding any picks to go with it. Flo over top, finding nothing out of that barrage. Going to spell nearly the end here for EG Brown, although, as I say that, the stall still going through. A shatter just to lock Fuchsia down on the Wrecking Ball. Not even 2 ticks actually yet. This is a beautiful stall. And now EG Brown starting to get picks. They've regrouped. They've got 3 people on this point, and Flo on that Doomfist could find some value here. Emeren goes very low, forces out the coalescence from Everend. Now another pick coming out from Zero. 1 by 1, Rift is falling down and disheartening, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to hold on to this.
No way, right there. That was impressive hold coming in on the side of EG Brown. Potentially devastating for this team on the defense, but we did see excellent management of support ultimates as that Earth Shatter comes in very aggressively.
Solo Shatter on to Swashbuckler, funnily enough, from Zero. I mean, that's one way to clean up a diva that's, been left out to dry a little bit. It is going to keep Rift back for the moment. Maybe a bit of an overinvestment, though.
Yes, Rift has, though, been investing their support ultimates very well on their rotations. Emeren's rally kept that push alive, allowing them to get to that second tick very effectively. Emeren, however, used that coalescence quite aggressively to try to take out the Tracer on the side of EG Brown, as opposed to healing Celestial, who I believe was on that Wrecking Ball. So right now, I want to keep seeing a great investment of support ults.
A great investment of abilities takes out Zero. No main tank for EG Brown as Rift pushes their way onto the point. A boot from Q-Tip gonna relocate Celestial down to the low ground. Self-destruct overhead, doesn't manage to find anything more than a bit of space for EG Brown, as now both sound barriers are out, but a later one is a better one coming out from Proz. Despite that though, Celestial gonna go down, and critical as well. Swashbuckler forced to invest the self-destruct to try and remech, but all the numbers are in favor of EG Brown right now, and they're gonna shut down this push with just a little under 2 minutes remaining.
I am happy to see Alex onto the Sombra right now, especially against this ability-dependent composition coming in from Rift. Squashbuckler, once again, just being bullied completely. But once you do hack the Doomfist, the Diva, the Reinhardt, it's very difficult for Rift to come back.
Oh, odd that Celestial decided to stay in that long. He was sort of just poking in main, maybe try to cover for his baby Diva that was coming back, but both of them end up getting staggered here now. Minute 20 on the clock. A few ults for Rift to work with, but a lot more for EG Brown, and Alex nearly has that EMP.
Yes, it is official. Chivalry is dead. That baby Diva and that Doomfist both fell in that Valiant attack. However, there are plenty of ultimates on the side of Rift to work with, especially the Earthshatter.
Oh! Earthshatter from Zero shuts Rift down before they can even get out the choke. 1 kill down, 3 to follow it. Rift just get deleted on that offense. They managed to get some fadeaway kills, but Defender's advantage gonna negate the value of those. 46 seconds remaining, rather. The Rift have to find a way in.
Yes, and Zero did go very aggressive on that Reinhardt, but due to the defensive spawn advantage, he's able to get away with that, getting an extra kill in charge, even though he ultimately did fall in that fight. Now switching over to the Hammond.
Yeah, misses the pile driver, unfortunately. EMP, self-destruct combo coming out, not finding anything, but forces Rift into positions where they're not able to defend against the Nano Fist that Flo is employing. He takes out 4, 5 down now, and it's desperation here for Rift. Just a baby Diva on the point. Maybe he can touch. It's going to be a desperation charge coming out from Critical to try and stall this one out. A Coalescence to maybe keep him alive long enough to touch the point here. Overtime does get triggered by Mr. Proz, but he's going to lose his life for it. Flo takes him down. Critical soon to follow. Rift can't find any sort of staying power or kills here on this point. Rally only going to net a bit of time on this offense. As EG Brown with a sound barrier, nice bit of health. Going to shut this one down, going to hold B. Eventually, as soon as they can clean up one more pesky Diva and a Lucio. Come on, guys, get the targeting rolling. You guys got it. It's just the baby Diva. There it is. Wick burns away. EG Brown holds strong.
Not only has EG Brown showed how strong they are as a team, they've shown their versatility, their ability to flex onto a variety of different heroes. The DPS players especially have been picking up each other's different takes. So we did see Alex, we did see Flo, both on that Sombra, both extremely successful on point A and point B respectively. So I am curious to see what they will decide to run with for their attack, especially since there are so many options. I'm not thinking we're going to see that symmetric Torbjorn though. That would be a bit, that'd be a bit much, don't you think, Paul?
You know, we didn't think that we were going to see a soldier coming out from the main tank player of EG Brown either, but they did that. So I'm just going to ignore what they're showing us in spawn for a while.
Always a good call.
Yeah, not going to trust that, especially from the attacking team. We all know how they like to debate us casters here. But Rift, going to be rolling out on the defense. We can trust this composition a little bit more.
Yes, this is quite classic coming in from Rift with Celestial on the Junkrat. I do love this pick, not only for the traps to take rid of those more mobile attackers, but so much shield breaking potential. It does look like Mr. Proz is considering switching off of this Brigitte, but all in all, it's 3-2-1 composition, 3 supports, 2 tanks, and 1 very angry, irradiated Australian, excuse me, as Critical starts to slow dance, preparing for his next defense on Hanamura. Let's see what we're getting on the other side. I do hope that Alex will stay onto the Bastion, but I think we are going to see something more traditional coming on the side of EG Brown.
You say traditional, but guess what? Guess what we're seeing on the field that's not traditional? It's the Symmetra. They're going to try and teleport their way straight onto the point. We've seen this in Contenders a few times. It has varied success. There's the teleporter out. The teleports come through, but the kills come through quicker. Q-Tip goes through and gets immediately deleted. Bit of a fun strategy coming out from EG Brown, but not going to net much except some ult charge over to Rift.
Yes, the entire kill. Already! Oh my gosh!
The Riptire. Oh, man. Yeah,
No.
Celestial shutting that one down nice and easy.
Yes, that is outstanding Junkrat play. Almost every single kill revolved around Celestial, providing that extra damage. And now we're going to definitely see some switches coming in. Flo was able to exploit all of that damage. Now it's 65% towards that Graviton Surge, but Big Hundo on the D.Va will help negate the power of that very dominant Junkrat from that last push.
Yeah, classic goats now for EG Brown with the Zenyatta. Going to manage to delete critical on this offense. This is a huge opening for EG Brown to take advantage of. No shielding for the backline means that EG Brown just get all the space they want to go crazy, take them all down. Celestial can't find enough damage to charge up to a Riptide this time. And it's going to be a cap coming through for EG Brown. They're going to have about 6.5 minutes to get about 90%.
Yes, right now, we could even see that being captured quite quickly as Flo does have that Graviton Surge and Zero is getting closer and closer to the Earth Shatter. So there are plenty of tools for EG Brown to exploit and even more armor for sustaining themselves. Although the wall coming in from Emerin will stall the push a little.
Yeah, stalls it out a little bit, but mostly just makes it so EG Brown gets all that rally armor. Ooh, a wall to disrupt the grab. Actually not going to work as well as he wanted. Celestial does manage to take out one with the Riptire, but the picks keep coming through. Actually, for both sides, Celestial managing to find some work. He is the Nano Rat down on the field, ladies and gentlemen. Is going to be taken down. It's just Flo and Fuchsia on the point. They're going to try and nab a tick here as the respawns come through. They managed to get one and shut critical down, actually. Maybe a bit of over-eagerness from that main tank of Rift to try and get back on and stall this out. Now, the respawn's gonna start coming through for EG Brown. A Transcendence to keep them nice and healthy. They only had 3 on this. They should have been shut down, but EG Brown hold their ground. They hold it solid, and Critical throws his shatter right into Zero's shield. Now self-destruct over the top, just by some space. A grab to lock the respawns of Rift down. It's desperation time for Rift, but they've got no ults to play with. It's all about the picks, and they're just not coming through. Everent's not going to be able to stall out long enough. Celestial might find 1 or 2, but he needs to come up huge, and he can't work his way up to the Meteor Strike to do so. EG Brown looking to shut this one down, looking to go 2 up in their open division score. And they win the series out 3-0.
Yes, EG Brown showed such great dominance throughout the series, and that was due to the incredible teamwork. But this last map, the switch Big Hundo made over to the D.Va, negating all of that damage coming in from the Junkrat with that value defense matrix. But let's take a look at what Q-Tip was able to do almost on his own alone. This was a bit earlier with Zero having that tactical visor, with Flo coming in with the Sombra hacks, but Q-Tip on that Lucio was absolutely brilliant, not only for stalling potential and boops, but also just great timing of sound barriers during their own attack.
Yeah, gotta love the Lucio boops, right? Q-Tip's been showing us all day how good he is on that hero. Pretty impressive to see a Lucio play of the game nowadays, especially since we have all these big grabs and shatters sort of stealing those away. But we're gonna, instead of stealing anything away, we're going to be throwing ourselves away over onto the desk. That was a terrible transition, but I'm just gonna let them deal with that. We're heading back over to the analyst desk one last time.
Wow, 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 wow. I don't think I've seen so many team fights not go the way of a 4K. How many 4Ks can you get in a game and it still not manage to clutch it out? That is, I have to ask Frito, how does that happen? What led to, EG Brown being able to bring it back after that 4K Hanzo and push through, even through the 4K on a Junkrat? What was going on there?
The cool thing about watching this team is that they look very disciplined in many areas of the meta that I think are very important. So you watch Hanamura stalling on that point. I think something that maybe isn't too obvious to many viewers or even some talent scouts who aren't sure how to find good value out of a main support player like your Lucio players out there. But Q-Tip, called a lot on the cast for good reason, was absolutely killing it this entire time. For example, when you're stalling back, coming back on the B retake, one of the best plays you can make is getting environmental knockoff, almost like pseudo kills, getting them off of that bridge, off of the point, giving you a sort of man advantage as you start to retake. Of course, as you have more attackers on the point, it thins out the respawns. I'm not even going to attempt to explain the mechanic. I don't even know it. I'm not even sure if some of the devs know the rules by this point, but there's really complicated mechanics on how the respawn rate works. If you're able to get them off the point, it's almost as good as getting a kill. And Q-Tip was dancing around everywhere. I almost watched him exclusively in some of these fights, contesting whatever the enemy had a Doomfist. There's a very famous quote from a player I respect highly, EQO, once said, well, you guys think Doomfist is overpowered? I mean, at the pro level, Lucio's can contest him, and many times he was throwing Celestial off his course on some of his engages, just going right at them as Lucio, and it's just a joy to see. Sound barriers on time, but a lot of the environmental repositioning game basically just suffocated them out of the fight, and that's how supports can carry in this game, with crowd control, essentially.
Yeah, it's so true. And one of the other things is E.G. Brown's Doomfist always followed up on anyone who had to walk back up those stairs from one of those booths. So many times do we see, I mean, just basically anyone from Rift who got knocked off that bridge walked up right into a punch. So, Fibble, when it comes to the way E.G. Brown handled this, now they ultimately walk away 3-0, very confident, but we did see them kind of run some alternative comps. What is something you would like to see them moving forward, and what is something you would like them to go ahead and leave on the whiteboard?
I really, really enjoyed anything Celestial brought out, really. I think the Junkrat was amazing. He got a lot of great tires. His Hanzo was also very good. I think the Sim Soldier defense was okay. I think it could have probably been tweaked a little bit. I like that Zero got the chance to flex onto DPS as a main tank player. You know the feeling when they're like, hey, play something that isn't Reinhardt, and you just like, really? I get to? Like, oh man, it's the Christmas season, and he got a gift with that one. That said, I think they largely got away with that one because they had the lead over Rift, and they knew that they could probably get away with it for a fight or two. It sort of bit them, but at the same time, they definitely got away with that. I think as they move forward in the season, they're going to have to be a little more careful with how they approach coming out with these niche picks and everything, because more people are just going to start playing GOATs again. And their GOATs is still very good, so like keep that for sure. And don't be afraid to experiment. Just know like, all right, we had our fun. We need to go back to playing what wins us games before it's too late, you know? They got to be careful.
I will say, though, I think if you watch a lot of the competitive scene right now, we are seeing, even on the old patch, a lot of these firepower comps that are just all in on doing damage. Well, you have 3 tanks, 3 supports. We're just going to rival that with less tanks, more damage. And as long as you have the mobility to dodge the brawl, you can get stall on those objectives. Again, I've been at great length to explain it, but who's on point there when you have your Diva demeched stalling the objective? You might not be able to see him, but it's Q-Tip on the Lucio, spinning in circles around the point, wall riding, booping things away. Really, you're getting a tanking value on the objective out of your Lucio player while everyone else is shooting, and also he's shooting, going for environmentals as well. Diva as the solo take there on the defense, I'm like shocked that that was attempted. I don't know if that's something that they're toying with, and I doubt we'll see that again, but basically no shield whatsoever, obviously, to hide behind, and everyone's just got to use their positioning and FPS mechanics to fight on point. But as we know, once those 3-3 ultimates start to get online and churning, they cover for each other and start to snowball. But then it went on to point B, where of course they are able to have good mechanics trickling out of spawn and being able to focus fire properly and use all of their stall techniques, including with the crowd control I mentioned earlier, to thin out those fights, despite Celestial hitting probably the most insane shots I've seen in this entire series. It wasn't able to be caught on broadcast, but Celestial catches Alex sleeping at the wheel, headshots him on the Doomfist, climbs up the window, and hits like a really difficult close range flick onto the soldier, then caps the Mercy, trying to res, and boom, 3 frags. That put Rift back into the game. So definitely, I think what Rift is going to be looking at moving forward at this point is Celestial. He's your star player. You got to give that guy the ball, put resources into him, and I think we'll start to see this team improve as the weeks go on.
Yeah, and it's a great point to bring up, because when he swapped over to the Hanzo Celestial, we thought, I don't know, what's he doing? This seems like a weird pick. And he said, no, guys, like, trust me. And you know what? From then on, he 100% did. We were like, all right, you could play Torb, whatever, dude. But Yeah, that's a great point to bring up, and I have to ask, who is the MVP of the match? Does he take it with all of his terrific play, or does EG's main tank take it with his, just omnipresent ability to kind of be wherever he needed to be whenever his team needed him? So, Thibble, we'll throw it over to you first. Who is your MVP of the match?
I've got to say, man, that's tough. It really is. Zero, I think, was certainly oppressive. But I think looking at the first two maps, especially when they knew things were really on the line, they kind of started to be a little lax on Hanamura. I'm going to give it to Fuchsia. I think his ability to keep whoever was his main support alive all the time allowed both of them to just do whatever they wanted. You know, Zero was making space for them, yes, but there were still people coming into the backline going for them, and between the two of them, they were still unstoppable, even without Peel. So I think that speaks a lot of their individual skill and their experience together. If they can keep that going, they're going to be unstoppable.
And what about for you, Frito, MVP?
Yeah, this is a tough one. There's a lot that showed up to play here today. Really good teamwork. I think it takes two to tango in the backline. I'm going to give it to Q-Tip. I already told you what I thought of his Lucio play. That was insane. But I really noticed a lot of the Mercy skill at play, which is something we don't get the opportunity to say too often. It's sometimes unnoticed. But the movement on that Mercy to hover over your own Winston in the right spot, avoiding damage largely, and outmaneuvering the enemy dives to come after you. Yes, of course, wouldn't have been possible without Fuchsia hitting the key shots, but they said in the lobby that they think this is like the next Jonak or something, so they think Fuchsia's pretty good to be able to hit those shots, and it takes the repositioning as well out of your Mercy player to get that comp to work. Mercy Ana, I think, is a legit comp on some of these long-range maps, and if you have those two pairings, you'll be surprised how difficult it is for the enemy attack to do anything if both your supports are playing that well. You know, came in the clutch to get the Resurrect on the Graviton, which was the only win condition for the attack there on the Streets phase, and just staying alive forever. It's hard. The defense has to die for you to push the cart, right? Hard to do when your support line never dies.
Very, very true. For me, I'm going to give it to our Junkrat Hanzo player because I, for one, love to see those heroes and haven't got to see them a lot recently. And two, when you put that many names to the kill feed, you deserve at least a mention. So for me, I'm going with Celestial. But ultimately, I do think your guys' picks for the supports of EG Brown are far more the candidates, as their play really was what saw through such a clean victory. However, we are getting near the end of our cast and the only game covered today for the Open Division. So before we get on out of here, though, is there any final thoughts either of you want to make for this game?
Yeah, I would say Rift. I think they're a team that I would hope we get the opportunity to see once again, because we see that they have some talented players, but especially in that Goats mirror, they look to have some things they're going to want to work on there, as you're going to expect to see a lot more of that in the Open Division. And as well, when you have this kind of mechanical performance out of a player like Celestial, you know that they can go far, right? There's opportunities, things that maybe they can work out through the team. So they're a team I am excited to see, hopefully back again on broadcast.
Thibble, anything for you?
I'll say Celestial is the MVP of my heart today. You know, he didn't manage to turn out the win for his team or anything, but damned if he didn't give it his best shot, you know? I mean, all the rip tires, all the crazy flicks on Hanzo, all the Dragon Blades. I definitely agree with your assessment there, Havoc, that if they put the resources in on him, they will continue to see greater success. So keep him. Don't let him go anywhere. Cherish him. He will do great things for you, for sure. I liked what I saw out of Rift, ultimately. Like, yeah, they lost, but it wasn't disheartening to see. You know, they weren't, like, hopeless. They have a chance. They're 1-1 right now. They're not terrible. They can still do it. They just got to refocus, learn what they've got to do to really nail down their essentials, and then stick to it. So,
absolutely, there you go, moving forward. But I want to go ahead and thank both my my analysts here, Frito and Thibbledork, for helping me break down the game today, and of course our wonderful casters, Katrina and Paulsable. And the show doesn't happen without a producer, so of course thank you to Toadette, who kept the show going, because the show must go on. I've been your host, Green Havoc. This has been the Open Division, and we will see you on the ladder.